Here we go. We are here. We are back. We are ready to go. There's a lot of news. There's a cryptic message from Devin White. We're going to be talking about the two definite needs for this defense this week, okay, that really needs to change. We're talking about A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, this offense, the Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson, a return player on the Browns that could cause some havoc, and what to really expect going into Sunday. A lot going on, so let's get straight into it.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. I hope everyone is enjoying themselves. A lot to talk about today regarding the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the number one thing we got to talk about, and this involves the linebacker situation right now, okay? This is really Devin White being a healthy scratch every single week, okay? A cryptic message, it sounds like it's a cry for help or something with Devin White at this point. Vic Fangio has promised us that Devin White was never the starter going into the season, that he was beat out by Nakobe Dean from the start to the end of training camp and all of that stuff. So this is, I guess, from the Bible, or maybe it's just a certain app that he uses and maybe just screenshotted it. I don't know. So it says today's message from October 7th on Monday saying, your story's still being written and the best chapters are yet to come. Have faith in the journey and trust that everything is happening for your highest good. Stay hopeful and optimistic. Believe that the future holds boundless possibilities, and you will have the power to shape it into something truly extraordinary. Okay? I don't know, there's just been really weird behavior. Not really it's on Devin White, but we're playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday. He's not at the game. He's sitting at home, okay? And he's putting out a video of Jalen Hurts getting strip sacked by Levante David, his former teammate. What teammate, if you're on a team, why would you post an actual player that you used to play with make a play on your quarterback, strip the ball from your quarterback, the team that you are on now? So I think that behavior has been really weird. And, maybe he's trying to get cut. Maybe he's trying to get traded. At this point, if he's a healthy scratch the last pretty much every single week, is he on the trade block? Are they trying to trade him? I think getting rid of him would be the biggest mistake. Number one, because you have an injury, you're pretty much done at this point. I mean, you still have Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is another one that really wants a chance. He had a tweet last week of him sitting in front of his locker with had a sad face emoji on his tweet for last week. And I think Jeremiah Trotter Jr. wants somewhat of he just wants a chance. Nakobe Dean, I don't even know, guys. I think it has a lot to do with bad coaching, practices, the way they tackle. Nakobe Dean missed 6-7 tackles last week against Tampa Bay last game, and his coverage we know is not good at all. That's a whole nother aspect to him, which I think he's one of the worst coverage guys that we have. Just doesn't fit the scheme. So I don't get it. I don't get why you get rid of guys when they don't fit the scheme, but Nakobe Dean does not fit this scheme when it comes to being in coverage as a linebacker. I'm watching all these linebackers on Sunday making plays off the ball and pass coverage, and I just don't see Nakobe Dean doing that. He had a drop pick 6 this year. He's had some good games. He had his worst game this past week. So I don't know why. Is Vic going to make some changes this week regarding the linebacker position? And I don't know. I mean, I feel like they have to move some guys around. They can't rely on Zach Bond that much, but unfortunately, he is the best linebacker at this point, especially if you're in 5-man fronts. And Zach Bond is an edge guy. You lose him in coverage. I understand why they don't do it all the time, because Zach Bond has way too much value. Has got to be one of the best players in this defense right now. That is more of a protege to the scheme of Vic Fangio. So this Devin White situation, I don't know where it's going to go, where it's going to move. I don't know what's happening here, but I guess we'll find out in the coming days what happens. Now, the two biggest changes they need to make this week, okay, regarding the Eagles defense. I think one is Cooper DeJean coming back. Okay. DeJean has got to come back. This is your second-round pick. This is your first-round talent, in my opinion, that hasn't hit the field yet, not as much, and really needs to play that nickel spot. Avonte Maddox, just stay as a backup the rest of this year. I mean, it doesn't even deserve a roster spot at this point. And they need to figure this shit out because you have, Sidney Brown's going to be back. I mean, he's going to practice this week, but he'll be back in a couple weeks, and they're going to try to want to get him involved in this defense a little bit, maybe. So we'll see what happens. You have Bradbury coming back as well. So you have two guys that don't even count towards the roster yet. So the Eagles will have to make some really tough decisions. I think Avonte Maddox will get cut, maybe sooner or later. I don't know. But the only issue I have with that is that Avonte Maddox is really the only backup nickel that we have right now, because Eli Ricks doesn't play on the inside, Keely Ringo doesn't play on the inside, Isaiah Rodgers doesn't play on the inside. I think one of the biggest mistakes they made was not cross-training Isaiah Rodgers to the inside, at least that he would somewhat get playing time. If that was the case, I would have rather had him on the inside than Maddox if he cross-trained there. Just leaving him at one side, one position, did not help his case coming into this year on a one-year deal. But having DeJean in is going to be a big upgrade for this defense, no doubt. So I think that's one of the moves they have to do. And I think, look, if Maddox starts after the bye week, then, man, they are fucking playing favorites, and it's really going to piss me off. Secondly, I think a big change for this defense is I think they should give Nolan Smith less reps, and I think Jalen Hunt has to be fully involved in this defense. I'm sorry. He had 5 snaps last week. He blew up a tight end last week. I mean, this is a guy, okay, that had a really good offseason as a perimeter Vic Fangio, another protege type player that Vic was very surprised over, and he just said so many great things about him, but yet hasn't been in the rotation and finally got some reps, in this defense for a few snaps. Really wasn't much. This is a safety transformed into an edge rusher that can cover out of coverage, can cover tight ends, can cover running backs on wheel routes. I mean, I got to say, for his size and his speed, and if you watch the tape from the Tampa Bay game, that guy hustles. And let me tell you, that guy ran from the play was away from him on the back when he was on the back side of the play, and he caught up and got a hand on the guy with the ball that went to the right side. I mean, it was absolutely amazing just how fast he is, and I think he needs to be used a lot more, unfortunately. Nolan Smith, I'm sorry. I think they have to lessen his snaps. I think they really should just put him in the fire, throw him out there. Why is it your second, your third, your fourth? I understand DeJean missed some time, so I get that. Your second, your third, your fourth round pick. I mean, there's barely even guys playing. Will Shipley's not playing barely. Like what's going on with these other draft picks? Like, why don't you just start playing these guys at some point? Are you waiting until, if the Eagles just, lose a few more games, you're just going to say, let's just start playing everybody, see what we have, give our analysis at the end of the year? I don't think that's fair at all. So I think you still have to try to get these guys involved somehow, some way. Jalen Hunt, your edge position is a fucking travesty right now. Obviously, we know what that looks like, and I talked about the 5-man fronts. If you do a 4-man front, you're going to have Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis getting double teamed. Your edge rushers are one-on-one, and nobody's afraid of these edge rushers because they know that the Eagles have nobody that's going to have consistent pass rush. We don't have a TJ Watt. We don't have an Aiden Hutchinson. We don't have that type of player. We don't have a Hendrickson type defense edge rusher. We don't have that type of edge rusher, unfortunately. So that's why, you go to these 5-man fronts. But with the 5-man front, you take obviously Zach Bond out of the equation at linebacker, and then you have Nakobe Dean that's sitting right back there, where I think another player can come in. If they start doing the 5-man fronts, they should not use Dean. They should use somebody else like Devin White, or dress somebody, or Trotter, or somebody. Throw somebody out there. But Jalen Hunt in the rotation has got to be more involved, and hopefully last week was the start of it, and they could get him more reps next week. This isn't reported that Jalen Hunt isn't getting more reps. This is just my opinion of, I really think he needs more reps. Just throw him in the fire, get him tired, give him a crap ton of reps and see what he could do. It really doesn't hurt. It comes down to your offense. We talk about the game, right? Eagles are 8.5 favorites going into this game on Sunday at home against the Cleveland Browns. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown comes back into your offense. Lane Johnson at right tackle comes back. So you're hoping that your quarterback isn't going to get is going to look a lot better with the chemistry there. AJ Brown might, he's missed a few games, so he might take a series to warm up a little bit. That's just normal. Devontae Smith is coming back from the concussion, but I want to see crossers. I want to see mesh routes. I want to see mesh concepts. I want to see a whole bunch of different things. I want to see the running backs in the passing game. I want to see Saquon Barkley get the ball and make it make sense. Second, third down, short yardage, run the football, the Kellen Moore short passing game. Get that going. Let the receivers get the yak yards on their own. Make it as simple for Jalen Hurts as possible. Throw in a screen game with the running backs. Get Will Shipley involved. Something at this point. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to go over the same news as we say every video of, who's going to call the offense? Honestly, I don't care until Sunday, but they better get this right. The coaching staff has had a couple weeks to get this prepared to face Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. And we talk about Deshaun Watson as being one of the most pressured quarterbacks in the league, one of the highest sacked quarterbacks in the league, on top of pressures, and their O-line isn't great. The quarterback is horrible. Amari Cooper is going to do really nothing this year. I think the only return player that you can get, is Nick Chubb at running back. I know he worked out. I know he came back last week technically, but needed more time, coming off, 2 different injuries, really bad ones. You know what I mean? So he could make the difference, but you know what? I thought Jim Schwartz's defense played really well for a quarter, but when your offense can't sustain drives, your defense is on the field a lot more. That defense definitely fell apart. And you're going to have to make some guys miss. The Browns are going to go after you defensively, but Deshaun Watson has got to be one of the worst quarterbacks. I think Kevin Stefanski, whatever his name is, I think he's one of the best head coaches. I honestly think he's a really good play caller. The only problem is I think he was dealt a bad deck of cards to have Deshaun Watson in that offense, and I just think Deshaun Watson going to that team on top of all the allegations, everything that's been going on with him. Trust me, the Eagles had interest in him before. The Eagles had a lot of interest in him in the past, and thank God they didn't pull the trigger on that or Russell Wilson. But every time, I swear to God, every time Deshaun Watson was getting pressure on him, and he would, as soon as he started scrambling, he doesn't know where to scramble. It was just a total disaster. Getting sacked 7 times by 14 sacks within the division between Washington and I think the Giants. Sorry, no, I think the Giants. I think honestly, yeah, I think the Cowboys and Washington I think the Cowboys had 6 sacks on him, and I think the Washington Commanders had 7 sacks on him. So it's pretty ugly over there in Cleveland. And if you can't beat one of the worst teams right now, one of the worst teams in football, especially since you're not facing a great team this week, you're not facing a great team the week after, the New York Giants, you got the Bengals that might might be playing a little tiny bit better because they stand foot to foot with the Ravens and kind of messed up that game in overtime with a missed field goal and kind of choked it up. But your next 4 weeks, are beatable teams. You're not really facing any top talent. You have no identity for your offense right now. And that's one of the biggest problems. And I think that comes to Jalen Hurts, the head coach, and they're just not on the same page. You have to get Jalen Hurts into a rhythm in this game. Not pass, gunslinger mentality. Can't happen that way. You're going to lose games. Put hero ball in Jalen Hurts' hands, and he's going to make a lot of mistakes. But Deshaun Watson, I don't want him to turn to Joe Montana for this game and literally have his best game of the year. Because if he has over an 80% completion percentage and he's just looking so perfect right now, it's not because he's good. It's because this defense is really that bad, or this offense can't, sustain drives and score points on the board, because I'm still waiting for the defense to at least try to get a turnover this year. It would help the Philadelphia Eagles. Sorry, I mean, they've had turnovers. Obviously, Reed Blankenship's had a couple picks. We all know that. But I'm saying other than that, they haven't really done anything else. And this defense has to show up angry, take advantage of the situation. You know, Jalen Carter said that Baker Mayfield, he holds on to the ball too long. We all know he holds on to the ball a lot longer. Well, apparently not, because he threw the ball in 2.2 seconds fastest in the league, because you gave the guy so much cushion. So it's going to be really interesting going forward. And I think this is a good test to see where will the Eagles, have a dominating performance? Will they have a medium performance, or will they play down to the competition and keep this thing so close because the play calling is so bland, which means bad quarterback play. Bad quarterback play means that everyone else is going to suffer in your offense. And that's where I'm at with this whole entire situation going on Sunday. I'm so numb to the feeling of I don't even give a flying shit who's calling the plays, who's not calling the plays, joint or not, whatever the case may be. Until game day, I'm not going to care. But, we'll see what happens. It's just, well, what else can you say about the Cleveland Browns? They're just not a good football team. Not good. Not a good quarterback. Just not great. So I think the defense could get after it. If Deshaun Watson starts scoring, that defense is taking a nice breather, getting some nice rest, and getting their their depth isn't that bad either on the defensive line. So they can get pressure. They can attack you. I know they have a corner that got hurt last week against Washington. So we'll see how the injuries go this week for the Cleveland Browns. But let me know what you guys think about this matchup. 8.5 favorites right now. How do you feel about Cooper DeJean? Should he start? Do you want Jalen Hunt to be in a bigger rotation? And what do you think about Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, Lane Johnson coming back to this offense? Do you think this should be a dominating performance going to this game? You guys let me know in the comment section below. Make sure you obviously like the video, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day. And we'll be back on the next one really soon. You guys enjoy. See you on the next one. Shakes, what up, Follow Slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.